Hey, it's St. Patrick's Day. I'm not supposed to be drinking this because of my dental work, but what the heck? Uh, After I got this good news the last few minutes, I just had to come on and talk to everybody. Happy St. Patrick's Day. And I've even got my green on. You might hear a lot of background noise. I'm actually in the basement because we have some guests and they're having a good time upstairs. But I just had to come down here and tell you what's going on. You probably already know, but it would be wrong of me not to talk about it today. Wow. McCabe was a big deal, even though it was only... Well, let me start back from the beginning. Hi, everybody. This is Roy Potter. This is the live stream version of the Potter Expositor. Welcome. Thank you for coming. This is a momentous day. This really is, and it really started last night. This is what we've been waiting for. This is what we've been pushing for. And I had to come on. I mean, it's so exciting. It almost brings me to tears. So again, happy St. Patrick's Day. Listen, yesterday with McCabe finally getting fired, we were really happy. And I said at the time, look, that's not enough. They've got to indict him, and then they have to go after everybody else, okay? Well, okay, Alex Jones, I know a lot of you have a problem with him, but I just had to check on him today. You can go to his YouTube channel and look at the video, Trump prepares to indict Clinton crime network. Whoa! Whoa! I mean, this was the other canary in the coal mine. This was it. You got to go see that, okay? But before I talk about that, let me back up. Hello, everybody, again. I wish I could say hi to everybody, but I will. Say hi to everybody. I'd like to mention every one of you by name. But, he sounds very tired. Jassy Joe is saying AJ sounds very tired. This has been, think of the pressure he's been under. Think of the pressure Trump's been under. Think of the pressure all of the patriots have been under with the harassment and the persecutions and the threats made against them, and now even violent threats from people even like former CIA head John Brennan. I mean, look at how this is crazy. Look how it's going. So AJ put up this thing a few minutes ago called Trump Preparing to Indict Clinton Crime Network. I want you to go see it after we're done here, okay? But I want to back up for a minute. I'm just going to back up for just a minute. I want to tell you how thankful I am to have friends like Steve Motley and Jesse Waltman of BP Earthwatch. For them to reach out like they have has been a godsend for a lot of reasons. Frankly, I was about ready to give up. And poor Steve, he's saying, no, the Marines never give up, Semper Fi. And this shows you, the Marines, they go through the thick of it, The old Army, sometimes we kind of hang back and we go, dang, how did I get involved in this? The Marines say, no, charge. And good old Steve Motley, with the help of BP Earthwatch, Jesse Waltman, reached out, gave me a new lease on this. And I'm just being honest about it, okay? For a lot of reasons. Steve put out a video just a little while ago. You need to go see it, where he's talking about the trolls and how they've caused him so many troubles, and all of us troubles. But, he talked about numbers. He doesn't care about numbers, and he's right. He's like Gideon, all right? I don't care about the numbers. Take all of you guys that aren't interested, just go away. I'll just do it with the few that are left, okay? That's Gideon talking. Well, not Gideon, but God talking to Gideon. In other words, I'm saying this was really incredible that he did this today. So I watched that. And then, of course, he talked about Q, right? I say I won't normally talk about Q, but I want you to understand something. Because of all those people out there who want to hold people like me accountable as blasphemers. And I've talked about this before, but there's a reason why I'm bringing it up here real quick. Don't be a jerk. Are you kidding? All right, listen to this. The Marines are trained one way, okay? And they attack the enemy in their methods, okay? The Army is trained another way, and they attack the enemy in their methods. Their methods differ, but the objective is the same. Do you understand what I'm saying? The enemy is the objective, and that's the same for both of them. You got that? One soldier might be given an M16. Another might be given a SAW, a squad assault weapon. They're different weapons. They use them differently, but they're used against the same enemy. Okay? And so, whether or not I want to follow Q and use him as my weapon, or if I want to use my own sources as my weapon, it doesn't matter. Those are weapons used in the assault against our enemies. So what weapon we pick up doesn't matter as long as we're shooting it at the enemy. Do you understand? So it's time to stop calling people names. You notice I don't call people names. I don't want to follow you. That's not my business, okay? But I certainly don't hold anything against Steve or anybody else who wants to use that. The important thing is that we're all shooting at the real enemy. That's the important. Yeah, semper fi, do or die. Absolutely, 100%. So I wanted to bring that up. Do you understand? I think you all do. All right? This shooting at each other over what weapon we decide to use in the fight isn't where we should be, because we all select. You might have a 12 gauge. You might have, propaganda. You might have an M60 machine gun. All of this is allegorical, but I think you see what I'm saying. The weapon you choose and you prefer isn't the issue. It's if you're going after the enemy with what you've got. That's what's important, okay? So I wanted to bring that up. So you need to go see Steve post today too. He's a riot. I tell you what, that guy's got more mojo than I think anybody else on the internet. Yeah, I'd still say that. I think that's absolutely true. Steve Motley is who I'm talking about, all right? So I wanted to give him a shout out and talk about that. So let's get back to the Alex Jones things, because this is really important, because this is what we have been pushing for. And I don't want to take up a lot of time. I always say that, and then I end up doing it. Pardon me. This is making me burp. This is really incredible. Think about this. Trump is now going after the Clinton crime network. Okay? It was on Alex Jones here just a few minutes ago, and he's got the inside information. Now, Alex can get excited, and sometimes he can get things kind of turned around, but I don't think so on this, because all of the information is lining up. Okay? So I give it a lot of credence. And the important thing about this is that Trump has now taken the entire, he's taken his gloves off. He's going to go through the entire gamut, it looks like. What was surprising, and I don't have this as firsthand information, I'm getting it from Alex, but he says that they're going to indict not just McCabe, but also Ray, and of course they'll go on down the line, Comey, the whole bunch of them. And then it'll go on into the Clinton crime network. So this is all being based on the information on the independent investigators that have been working for Trump, not the DOJ. Now, there's some in there that have been doing it, but that's been clamped on by and large. But the OIG and the independent investigators that Trump has been using, that's all I'm going to say. Yes, he is fed up, Tammy. Absolutely, as all of us are. That there's been two systems of justice. Actually, one is no justice at all, but they want to use all of the laws and things against us. So this is a big day. This is an absolutely big day, and we're absolutely ecstatic about it. And I just needed to get out here and talk to you on this particular thing. Now remember, both Eric Holder, he talked about now it's time to bring knives, and then Lieutenant Colonel Schaefer retorted to that and said, well, you bring knives, we're going to bring guns. So you're going to bring knives to a gunfight, huh? Holder, is that what you're going to do? Good on Lieutenant Colonel Anthony Schaefer, a man after my own heart. And then Brennan said today that there will be destruction if Trump and the American people don't roll over. Well, we don't roll over, Brennan. And you can bring your entire deep state apparatus, but now, the fight's on, okay? You better keep it peaceful. You better keep it in the political realm and not do this thing, okay? You better not do it. And I think a lot of us would go along with that. I've been watching Craig Sawyer's posts and Matt Bracken's, but mostly Craig Sawyer's, and he's been up front. He says, you don't mess with us. You're taking this too far, deep state. You're going too far. We're locked and loaded. We're ready to go. And I think he's serious. They've been rolling up these pedophile networks from the bottom up, and now they're going to start going after the hotcakes at the top. It's time. It's way, way past time. And so I'm really, really happy. Yeah, what Brendan said was crazy. Yes, it was. But that shows you how desperate they are. And really, look at Philip Mudd calling for the death of Donald Trump. Back I don't know, 3-4 months ago or more, something like. He was the ex-CIA counterintelligence chief. And then we see what McCabe did. We see what the counterintelligence chief of the FBI did, Presap. This thing is these traitors and these deep state operatives that are really the senior executive service and others. Okay, it's not just the SES, but it's throughout our government, our institutions. These people have been wicked, evil, and they've been trying to destroy our system and kill off and enslave our people. And it looks like Trump's ready to move on them. So I just had to get that out today. Yes, I'm very excited. I'm very happy. Do you realize how long we've been working at this? I know most of you probably do understand that. A lot of the states are trying gunfire. All of this is being done by the left and the rhinos, the Republicans in name only. They're trying to do this stuff too because they know that Trump is serious now. And this has been the other canary in the coal mine I've been looking for. It's not done yet. But the word is that it's now, this is beyond, this is outside of anything else that we've seen, okay? This isn't depending on Q. This isn't depending upon even the sources I've got. This is action. This is action. And McCabe was the first step in that action, and apparently they're going after him. I'm not worried about Sessions right now. We can sidestep Sessions. I don't really worry about Sessions. He's done the right thing with McCabe on the firing, but obviously this other stuff has to happen, the indictments. And the OIG report is apparently President Trump has the OIG report at this point in time. That would be my guess. And he's got it with his staff and those people that are going to go forward with it. Just from the way things are looking, that's what I would suspect at this point. So I just had to come on and let everybody know. Like I said, you're probably finding out. Yes, prep, pray, and stay out of the way. Absolutely. The Marines were finding out that remember about a week ago, 3 or 4 days ago, something like that, I put up a live stream that the Marines were doing an exercise in the suburbs of Phoenix, and that it was somewhat of concern because why would they be doing an operation like that in the suburbs unless, rather, instead of doing a control operation like in the city or whatever? Well, it's to get ready to pick people up, including the MS-13 that we've been hearing about that are, the Democratic arm, the Debbie Wasserman Schultz and those people who have been using MS-13 as their frontline soldiers. So they're apparently mopping those guys up, just like we talked about several months ago when we first started talking about these things. So, the Marines are the president's, basically his personal military, and they've been used very well here. So, I'm looking at this as all positive. Do I want to see martial law? No. I've been talking about that, that's our last ditch effort. But we're there, folks. We're there to the point where the only possible way to stop this is to use the military to fight against the domestic enemies, the true domestic enemies, not the ones that Harry Reid proclaims because they stand up against his corruption, not the ones that Hillary Clinton proclaims because they stand up against the corruption. I'm talking about, of course, the Bundys, etc. And all of us that stood up against the Bureau of Land Management and the horrible things they were doing there at Bunkerville in Nevada, and in fact, all over the country. Okay, that was a turning point. That must have made a real impression on Trump. At least I'm believing that that's the case at this point. That took a lot of guts by the people that were there, particularly the Bundy family and the Hammonds up in Oregon, etc. And I know the Hammonds wanted to back off, but man, they were, look what's happened to them. They were put in some really bad circumstances. So one of the things that should happen is that the prisons should be open for those who have been wrongfully prosecuted and persecuted by this corrupt government. And I believe that Trump will end up doing that for a lot of people like he did he didn't do it directly for the Bundys. It was around a roundabout way, but he did do it for the Submariner, remember? Absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So I'm looking forward to him opening the prisons to all those who have been put in unjustly. And there have been a number of them. Okay, I've probably gone along too long, but I wanted to do this so that you knew, so that you would know how we're looking at it. and that I'm really happy with what we're seeing. And it's happening. I can feel it now. Alex Jones sometimes puts information out, and it's a little sensational or whatever. But if you watch this video again, hold on a second. You need to go look at it. It's on Alex Jones' YouTube channel. It's called Trump Preparing to Indict Clinton Crime Network. Go see that. I don't think this is sensationalism. I think he has actually heard what's happening, and we've seen some evidence of it in some other situations that have happened in the last 3 or 4 days. So yes, I believe it's moving along. I put up that video here earlier today. It was from another channel, President Donald J. Trump. I don't think it's really his channel, but it's somebody that's using that. And, it just shows what kind of a guy he is. He's not a mealy-mouthed dude. He's going to call it the way he sees it. He's a man's man. He loves women, like I said on that. And he's going to use expletives when the time for them arise. He's going to rise to the occasion. And it was super. You need to go see that. It's the live stream that I put up before this one. I think you'll really enjoy that. Yeah, it's an expletive. It's a cuss word. But it's certainly apropos. Absolutely 100% apropos. Okay? Now, YouTube was apparently playing with my upload of that. I got notice from Jesse Waltman that he couldn't get it to play back. Well, YouTube has been messing with things. They've taken down several of my videos saying that I took them down when I did not. So they've been playing a lot of games. Okay, so at any rate, go see if you can watch that one too. It's called. I think if mine doesn't come up, you can type in. And I can't. I probably better not say it over the air. But Trump calls them MFers, and you can fill in the blanks there if you know what I'm saying. Okay, all right. Let me see if I can answer any questions here. Smelly feet is a bot. Bill of Rights. Yeah, the Internet Bill of Rights is coming. What's the timeline? I think that's a legitimate question. I've called for Trump to not lose the initiative. How long have you been hearing me say that? That's a principle of war. You seize and you retain the initiative. You don't allow the enemy to choose the time and the place, which is what they've been doing by and large. Trump is ready to move. I think that's exactly the way it is now. I've already addressed the Q thing. Go back to the beginning of the video, and you'll see how I feel about that. I think it was Maria who asked that question. Again, I'm going to say, whether you choose the Marines or the Army, they have different tactics, different methods, or whether a soldier selects an M16 or a SAW, a squad assault weapon, or an M203 grenade launcher or whatever. It's not the weapon that you use, it's that you're pointing it at the enemy. So I don't care if you're following Q, I don't care, whatever system you decide to use. I decided not to go that way, I used a different one. I'm not calling people names that decide to use an M16 instead of my SAW. In other words, I'm not calling people names who want to use, Q instead of my sources. That's not the issue. The issue is, are we going after the enemy? That's the issue. Okay? So that's what we need to remember. Okay. I think that's enough. Hey, let's go celebrate. This is wonderful. This is cool. No, I don't know what's going to happen to Sessions. Somebody just asked that. I don't know. Somebody earlier today said, well, Sessions had to fire McCabe because he was going to be on the chopping block if he didn't. I'm still not sure about Sessions. If Alex Jones is correct, an indictment's coming down on Ray. I don't know for sure. Yeah, I do write. How did you know? Yeah, of course. Here, let me show you. I think you've seen these before, but, yeah, absolutely. Okay? All right? Yeah, what the heck? Actually, I went to Sturgis once. Wow, it was right after I got my wide glide. It was probably 2004. I guess it was 2004. I got this hat while I was there. It was a 2003 hat, but I went in 2004. And it was a long ride. I had to camp out on the road at night. But I got into Sturgis, and there was I'm not kidding you, it was on I-90 there, heading eastbound into Sturgis. And holy cow, the exit was backed up like a mile for all these people that are going, into Sturgis. And I went, wow, do I really want to be here? And I rode on into town. It took me, I don't know, half hour to get off the freeway or more, something like that. And we got in, and I mean, the noise, the smell, the people. I mean, it was great seeing all these bikes. Most of the women were gorgeous. The guys were all dressed up, in their stuff, and the bikes were all amazing bikes. Lots of vendors there selling all kinds of cool things. I think that's where I got this hat. And but the problem is that you could hardly move. You'd try to eat at a restaurant, and they were always busy and crowded. Even the restrooms. You couldn't. You'd wait in line for a half hour to use the restroom, so people were going to the back alleys. That's why the town smelled so nasty, I suspect. But anyway, I only stayed there for about 3 hours, and I decided to head out to Devil's Tower in Wyoming, which was one of the day rides. I didn't use it as a day ride. I just went out there, and they had a nice campground, and I stayed out there for the night, and they had a band out there, and it was kind of fun. So yeah, I've been there, but I only went once, and no, I'm not going to go back. I've got other things I can go see without that crazy mess there. Oh, I have a buddy, the guy that you see on the band that I sometimes put up, where I show the band and they're playing music. The guy that's the bass player there, he played with a very professional band at Sturgis, and he's been around. So I have contacts with that kind of stuff. It's kind of neat. But no, I'm not going back to Sturgis. No, that's I'm done with that. Ryan turned on Trump in PA. Well, yeah, there's more to that whole PA thing than meets the mind or meets the eye. I wasn't real happy with the selection of Saccone anyway, and I think I've talked about that. So we'll just see where that goes now. Okay, there was some voter fraud. We're pretty sure of that. There was also a problem with the entire way that they selected this. The way this whole thing went down. The Pennsylvania districting, which was a problem I addressed about a month or two ago because of Sharon Tobe here. I don't think she's on YouTube, but she is on Twitter, and she wrote me a tweet and saying, "Look, Roy, you need to make this people understand that they're redistricting based on the old. If a Democrat decided to vote Republican but didn't change it officially in some of these states." Then they're holding them to the districts of as Democrats instead of Republicans, and so that caused a problem in Pennsylvania as well, apparently. So those things were going on, and we tried to address that. The sealed indictments, yes. I have been suspicious about what those might be in the long run, so I'm backing off on my suspicions at this point. If Trump is actually moving against the Clinton crime network, that thing reaches into places, and I've talked about it. We saw it in the Bundy situation. Even Sheriff Lombardo of the Las Vegas Police Department, with all of this crazy stuff that's been going on with the cover-up of the LV shooting, he was partially responsible for what happened at the Bundy Ranch and the seizure by the BLM of resources, okay? I don't know if he's been indicted. Who knows? Breitzig up in Oregon for doing what he did. He was the FBI agent in charge. If these indictments are going after people like that, right on, because they violated their oath of office, number one. Number two, they covered up crimes, which is obstruction of justice and accessory after the fact, and they may even be conspirators. Okay, there's all kinds of stuff going on there. Who's doing the investigations? I don't know. It could be the Marines. It could be, I don't know who's doing it, but I was worried there for a while that it might be coming after, the good folks, the people that are standing up and trying to do something by another whole part of the government. I still don't know that for sure, but I think under the circumstances, it's starting to look like, they've got a lot of people lined up. Let's just pray that that's the case, that they've got these traitors pegged and they're ready to go after them. Thank God. And that brings up a point, okay, and then I'll close down. And Jesse Waltman talked about it. I mentioned it on the radio show with Jesse last night, that, we can ask God for all this help and beg him and all of those things, but most important is to praise him. However, I'm not going to tell you how to do it, but praise God for the gifts and the blessings that we have and his wonderful creation. Okay, I think if we change our approach at this point and do that, we might see some really incredible things happen, as they are starting to, I think. All right. Let's see. Gratitude, not entitlement. Absolutely. Gratitude, not entitlement. Tell more about Ray. I don't know enough about it to tell you. Alex Jones was the one that said that the indictment has come down on McCabe, or is ready to be served on McCabe and Ray as well. Probably Comey, probably Brennan, probably Hayden, probably Clapper. We could go down the list. Strzok, Page, Priestap, people in the SES and the State Department and the CIA. Who knows how widespread this is going to be, but it's time. Ryan Bundy's going to run for governor of Nevada. Isn't that fantastic? Those guys are heroes. I met these people. They are salt of the earth, decent, wonderful people, as was Lavoy Finicum, as I talked about on BP Earthwatch's Red Pill Radio Live show last night. I met all these people. They're great, great people, and to see the things that have happened to them based upon the greed and the corruption of people like Harry Reid and Clinton and Comey and McCabe, et cetera, et cetera. It's really been a travesty in this country to see what's happened. And the tables need to be turned. And praise to God that, it's apparently about ready to happen. However, I will leave you with this. As I always say, prep, pray, and stay out of the way. Okay? Protect yourselves. Bind yourself with your neighbors if you can trust them. Go to your local county sheriff if he or she is a constitutional sheriff, and tell them that you support them, and tell them that you're ready in case they need you. Be prepared to do what's necessary. I'm not talking about offensive action, but be prepared to do what's necessary to protect your communities, your families, and your communities. Okay? Absolutely important. Some people were asking me the other day about food supply. Wow, we don't have the money to go out and buy all this expensive dehydrated food, or those types of things. Patriot Supply, My Patriot Supply. That stuff's expensive. It's good stuff, but some people don't have the money. So this is what you do. You go to your local, if you have a Winco around, if you know what that is, a Costco, or even a good grocery store. You go in and you buy pinto beans, black beans if you can afford them, rice, salt, sugar. Okay? Make sure you have plenty of water, because it's going to take water to cook those things, right? And buy some canned goods, some canned meat, some canned vegetables, canned fruits, those types of things. Keep it in a low budget. You don't need a lot. Initially, as we've talked about, you need to get through that 2-week hump of when this thing comes down. Now, if you can get more, that's great, but you need to have about what you figure is a 2-week supply to get you through all the craziness. You don't want to be going out in your car and looking for things if this whole thing comes down and it's tough. You want to be able to hunker down in your home, defend yourselves, and eat those good things. Okay, somebody's putting up here. Yeah, the basics. Keep it basic, okay? You want to fill the tummy, you want to have a little variety, but you don't need the expensive stuff. And those dried, rice, beans, the dried type, they'll last for quite a while, years really, without having to put them in vacuum containers. But the point is, you can buy, let's say you have 2 of you, and you want to get through the next 2 weeks. You'll probably want to have 50 to 100 pounds of beans, 50 to 100 pounds of rice. That's a lot, actually. And then some canned goods, the salt, the sugar, and like somebody said, the coffee. Gee, how could we be without the coffee, right? Maybe even a little of this stuff. Ramen noodles don't get ramen noodles. There's a little bit of carbohydrate there, but there's really no nutrients. Rice and beans are about a complete meal of protein and other things, and it's not expensive. Powdered milk, Spam's good. I'm not a pork eater, but Spam in an emergency, you better believe it, right? You can buy those canned Spams off brands, of course. The canned ham, stuff like that, that you don't need to refrigerate it. In an emergency, of course. God's not going to, if you're not into eating pork, because of religious reasons or whatever, survival is okay. You can do it. And I'm not telling anybody how to live their lives, but there are certain circumstances that, you have a responsibility to take care of yourself. Canned chicken, whatever. Lentils, great. Tuna, okay. Whatever you can get. You just don't need to spend a lot of money. Think about the bulk items, the rice, the beans, the sugar, the salt, and lots of water. One of the things we do, I don't go out and buy water. I've got a water filter, the type that you hike with, or one of Alex's, I forget what it's called, but it's a gravity-fed water filter that you can put on a desktop or a counter, or take it outside if you want to. But we still bottle the water. If we buy orange juice, not dairy products, but orange juice or soft drinks or those types of things, you rinse out the bottle, right? And then you fill it with water. And sometimes you can drink that, but it's still probably safer to put it through the filter. Okay, so just to be on the safe side. But that's a cheap way to do it. Every time you buy a gallon of, or a half gallon or a quart even of juice, or a liter, say, or 2 liters of soft drink, you rinse it out and you put some water in it, cap it, store it. That's a real fast way to do it. Just make sure you have a water filter so that you can get out the bad stuff in case it's in there, okay? All right. I think we're done. I want to... You farted. Oh, vodka. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, actually, that's not a bad idea because it's also an astringent. It's also an antiseptic, right? So, yeah, I can justify that. Absolutely. All right. Okay. Well water, how do you get water out of it? Well, of course, if the power goes off, you better have a manual pump. Okay, you're gonna have to solve that problem for yourself. Find a water supply near you. There might not be one. There are other ways to do that. Look that up about how you find water in arid environments. I don't want to go through all the process here. It can be a lot of work. The best thing to do is to store at least 2 weeks of water up front. Okay, that's really important to do that. Okay. Yeah, vinegar is a good antiseptic as well. It's also good for the stomach, cleaning out the system. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, solar, yeah, but maybe. Yeah, if you've got it, that's great. I wouldn't spend the money at this time. I mean, it's thousands of dollars. A decent system will cost a normal homeowner probably another, $30,000, something like that. That's a big chunk of change at this point when we're trying to get ready for things. Somebody's pointing out, they're saying ammo, but I'm going to say anything that you can use to trade, for what you need, whatever that is. Certain types of food, ammunition, oil, whatever you can store that you can use for, a commodity exchange. Yeah, for what you need. Good stuff. All right. Yeah, honey's a good thing. Not good for infants, though. Remember that. Don't give honey to infants. That's important to remember. Okay, yeah, don't depend on anybody to protect you. That's one of the problems I've had with us depending upon all of these political things, okay, or intelligence things. I'm just using it in vague terms. They're not going to protect you. You use the information and you make a decision on how to prepare. That's what you do, okay? Don't think it's all going to be done for you. It's not. And this is a good point. When the flood was coming, all of those of you who like to read the Bible, the flood was coming, the rains were coming. God went to Noah and he said, "Hey, buddy, you better build an ark, and here are the specifications. This is how you need to do it." Okay? Did God build the ark for Noah? No. If Noah hadn't built the ark, if he hadn't prepared himself, he and his family would have died. Do you understand? So God expects us to do something for ourselves. He can give us the warnings. He can show us what we have to prepare for. But in the end, we still have to perform. We still have to do something. Okay? All right. Thanks, everybody. Oh, Viagra. Jerry K saying, oh, you got to have Viagra. President Trump said something about that. I forget where it was. Maybe it was in a book he wrote. I'm not sure. And I'll end on this, and it's going to upset a lot of people, but I got to tell you this. He said, if a guy needs Viagra, he's with the wrong girl. Serious. Google it. You'll find it, okay? All right. Thanks, everybody. God bless the Constitutional Republic of the United States of America. God bless the Second American Revolution. God bless you, in case I didn't say that. And God bless President Donald Trump in all of his righteous endeavors, and they're starting to mount up. A lot of good righteous endeavors. Thank you all. Have a great St. Patrick's Day. It's storming where I am, so we're just staying inside. Hope you have a great day. This is a Sabbath for some people. Tomorrow's a Sabbath for others. Regardless, give thanks to God and stay on the straight and narrow. Okay? Out here. We'll see you later.